TV was something I know that you loved and you wanted to be involved with, and you're really excited when you got the job.
I never had a TV as a child, so I've done it all to spite my mum.
So when you got that job as a presenter for CBeebies, that was a really lovely moment for you.
It was amazing, yeah. I'd been sort of struggling actor for about 7 years. I'd just become a mum. I had no money, you know, all of those things. I think my daughter was about 3 months old when I found out that I got the job. And I was on the bed breastfeeding her, and my mum came in with a bunch of bananas. And I said, "Oh, Mum, I've got the job." And she went, "Whoa!" and threw the bananas up and marked the whole of the ceiling. Oh. So we were, you know, everyone was absolutely just overjoyed for me and with me.
So when those comments started, sorry, Jane, when those comments started coming in from a minority of parents, let's be honest, but that must have been very hurtful for you.
No, I mean, I'm very wary of this word hurtful, because I think that makes it personal to me. And earlier on, you know, we were talking about body shaming, and again, that makes it seem as if it was all directed deliberately at me, which it was in a sense, but in another sense, it was much, much broader than that, and almost akin to racism. It's a prejudice. Yeah. That's what it is. We have to name it for what it is.
Against disability in general.
And you actually know, because you have children yourself, is that no child will look at you on television and go, "I'm offended by that." They would probably just go, "Oh, Mummy, where's the rest of her arm?" And the parent is the one that feels awkward because they've got to explain something.
Or misguided or afraid. And actually, some children are frightened of my arm. You know, I mean, it is a weird arm. Do you know what I mean? Let's just say what it is.
But I mean, we always say that we should celebrate our differences, and you shouldn't be defined by that, because you've got so much more to offer.
And also, some children are frightened of the dark, they're frightened of spiders, they're frightened of the sea. You know, as you're growing up, there are lots of things that you'll encounter for the first time that might seem scary. And as you were saying, it's the parent's role, you would hope, to just reassure the child that actually everything's fine, and now let's go and build a sandcastle.
I mean, they say you're only born, babies are only born to be frightened of loud noises, because it's an instinct. The dark and all of those things, frightened of the dark, is learned. It's something they learn.
Although I'm still frightened of the dark.
Can I just ask, though, because was there any pressure to cover up your arm at all?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think my parents really tried to resist that, and actually, I mean, you should probably talk to my mum instead of me, but, you know, from a very young age, really from birth, they were advised to make me wear a prosthetic arm. We used to go through a 2-hour argument every morning, and I used to say to my mum, "But I'm more beautiful without it." You know, this is when I was 4, and she would have to go, "I know, but on it goes." I used to cut the fingers off, draw tattoos, you know, and then finally, when I was 9, my parents actually turned around to the doctors and said, "You know what, we can't go through this hell anymore."
Yes. Was that what your dad said? He drew up at the playground and saw you running around with your prosthetic arm under your other arm?
People with it, pretending to be grot bags, yeah. So, yeah, finally they went, "OK, let's let her be this wild girl that she wants to be."
And that was in 2009, those comments.
Yes.
Do you not think that 2012, when we, as a city in London, hosted the Paralympics, did you notice then that things changed a bit?
I think things have definitely changed since then, and I think for children with disabilities, things have massively improved. Or certainly they had done. Politically, at the moment, I think we're going backwards. If you look at the amount of disabled people who are losing their benefits, losing the right to work, you know, and unfortunately, you know, the amount of people who are dying as a consequence of that is on the rise, and it's kind of swept under the carpet.
I love your books, how you're integrating disabilities.
I love you for saying that.
No, it's wonderful, because it really rang a bell when you were saying I was reading books to my daughter, and they're all very generic and about sort of, you know, pretty princesses, and doesn't explain the whole spectrum of life outside that children will become, you know, adjusted to. So talking about a child in a wheelchair or with a missing limb is incredible. My kids love watching Soul Surfer about a girl that lost her arm.
Yes,
and it becomes acceptable then that can happen, and there's still life after that, and they can go on and succeed like you have, and it's so refreshing.
Oh, well, thank you.
You've got a book out, Harper and the Night Forest. This is your series of the Harper series.
Yeah, so this is the 3rd book in the series, and it's about a sort of a forest that's full of fairy tales and a girl who can play any instrument by ear, and they go to the forest and they have to solve a mystery once they're there.
And now the other thing we said, our Body Story campaign that
Yes.
you think is a great campaign, and you very kindly, and some might say bravely, said that you would send us a picture of you in your... So, how did you feel doing that shot and knowing it was going to be on here today?
If I looked like that, I'd be fine.
Well, thank you. Because I've grown up doing a lot of dance, you get used to being in a leotard.
Yes.
So then you have a different relationship with being kind of scantily clad, as it were.
Yes.
And I swim a lot as well. So I'm always in swimwear. So it wasn't a big thing. And actually, I mean, it's very nice of you to say that, but this is the biggest size I've ever been. You know, I'm a size 12 at the moment. I feel quite... when I was pregnant.
Right up to that moment, I really liked it. Absolutely.
Forgive me.
I'll try.
But yeah, so, I mean, I used to be a life model, in fact, when I was younger, so I've always had a kind of body confidence, not necessarily a high self-esteem, but in terms of my body, and perhaps because of what I went through when I was younger, battling to get this awful heavy arm off, I've always just been like, here I am, this is me.